I'm Cath. My channel is made by Cath Craft, and thank you so much for joining me for episode 3 of my midweek sewing catch-up. So if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, you know I've been doing these midweek sewing catch-ups for the last 3 weeks, and I decided to start doing them because I joined in with Vlogmas before Christmas, and I really enjoyed popping on every day for Vlogmas and sharing quite an informal, relaxed vlog where I was talking about what I was up to. And I really thought I'd like to carry that on, so I thought it would be great to pop on midweek and share with you a bit about what I'm wearing, what I'm up to sewing-wise and life-wise generally, and just create quite a relaxed, chatty style video. So I'm really enjoying filming these midweek catch-ups. I wasn't actually planning on releasing one this week. If you've seen episode 2, you'll know I said I was going to instead this week film a week of sewing and chat, which is a video I do, or I try to do once a month, where I pop on every day in the week, and then I usually release it on the Saturday. But I was having a little plan about what I've got coming up on YouTube. And one thing I really wanted to do was share a makes vlog sometime soon, because I haven't done a makes vlog for a while. I think in December I didn't release one because I was quite busy with Vlogmas. So I thought I'd do kind of like a bumper makes vlog of December and January makes. But when I was looking, there were quite a lot of garments to talk about, and I thought it might end up getting quite long. So I asked you guys on the community tab what you'd prefer, whether you prefer one really long video or 2 slightly shorter ones. And the majority seemed to prefer 2 slightly shorter videos, and I thought that would work quite well. So I decided this week is, instead of doing my week of sewing and chat for January, I thought I'd pop on midweek and share this sort of chatty vlog, and then at the weekend I'll post some of my makes from December. So that's my plan. So sorry to cause a bit of confusion by changing things, but I think this will work well. So hopefully you don't mind too much and you'll enjoy both videos. So yep, today is Tuesday. I'm planning on releasing this vlog tomorrow morning, so Wednesday. But yeah, I'll tell you a bit about what I'm planning today. First of all, it's a very overcast day here. It's still quite cold, but it is nice because it means the sun isn't shining in my eyes for filming this. That's always good. So it's coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning now. This morning I've been on the school run to drop my 2 children at school. There's quite a lot of COVID cases in their school at the moment, so I don't know whether they might be off sometime soon with COVID. I think there were 8 children off in my son's class yesterday, so it's definitely around. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that they don't catch it, or if they do catch it, they won't get too poorly. We'll have to see what happens. But so I dropped them off at school anyway, because they're both fine at the moment. And then I went for a run, and I'm really enjoying getting back into running, actually. I sort of tailed off before Christmas for one reason and another. And then one of my friends set up a little group where we've all been sort of counting our steps. We've all been wearing our kind of Fitbit type watches and trying to walk or step 100 miles in January. And it's really got me back out into running, and I'm really enjoying that, actually. So I went for a run this morning, and I look a bit silly at the moment because I've got my watch on top of all my jumpers and things, so I really don't like it when jumpers get stretched out of shape if you're wearing a watch. So I've got mine on top. So I got a load of steps this morning by getting on my run. That was quite nice. And now I'm hoping to get a few things done now I'm back home, including some sewing today. Oh, but first I'll share with you what I'm wearing before I share my sewing plans. So I decided today to wear a top and skirt combination. That used to be one of my go-to style outfits, wearing a top and skirt. I do like a skirt, but this winter I haven't been reaching for my skirts very much. I've been mainly wearing either jeans or dresses. So I thought I'd get one of my neglected skirts out and wear that today. So I've got on a ready-to-wear top. It's a really old one. It must be 15 years old at least. It's got this kind of cable knit pattern on. I do love some cable knit. But yeah, it's just a ready-to-wear top that I bought before I started sewing a long time before. But the skirt is a handmade skirt, and I'll stand up so you can just see a little flash of it, and then I'll tell you about the pattern. So it's a fairly short skirt, and I made it using this pattern here, which is the Moss skirt by Grainline Studio. And it's a really nice, simple skirt pattern. It's got some nice details on it. It's got a fly front zipper. It's got a waistband that I think is designed to sit just below your natural waist. It's got these slash pockets, and it's got a yoke at the back to kind of add some shaping and bring it in. And then you can also add on an extra sort of bottom band here to make a feature at the bottom. And I bought this skirt pattern originally because I'd ordered some fabric online. It was quite early in my fabric buying days, and it had come a lot brighter than I was expecting. I thought I'd kind of ordered like a sort of darkish blue colour, and it came as more of a royal blue colour, as you'll have seen when I stood up. And I've been planning to make a Clio pinafore by tilling the buttons using that fabric, but I thought the bright blue was just a bit too bright for a pinafore. So I looked around for a nice simple skirt pattern that I thought would work well with the blue fabric, and I found this one, the Grainline Studio Moss skirt, and I thought I'd give it a go. And I think this pattern's quite similar also to the Nest skirt pattern by tilling the buttons, but I got this before the Nest skirt was released. Otherwise I might have got a Tilly and the Buttons pattern instead, because I was more comfortable, I think, with Tilly and the Buttons patterns when I was quite early sewing. But I really like Grainline Studio patterns actually. They have really clean lines, I find, quite simple designs, and their instructions are really concise, so they're not too wordy and they're quite matter of fact, I guess, to follow. But this pattern comes together really well. I think I bit off a bit more than I could chew when I bought it, because it had all these features like a fly front zipper, and I was fairly new to sewing. So anyway, I gave it a go and I really enjoyed sewing, and I really like the sort of simple style of the skirt. It's designed for medium to heavyweight woven fabrics like denim, twill, corduroy. I think it will make a great basic denim skirt pattern. But I've made a couple of versions in corduroy, and the version I'm wearing today is actually version 2 of my royal blue version. I wore my first version so much I ended up wearing a hole in the back of it. I think that was in the days where I was down on the floor quite a lot with small children, so yeah, it got a lot of wear. So this is my second version. I basically remade it exactly the same, except it's much better finished second time round, because I had a bit more sewing experience under my belt, and I had an overlocker, so I've been able to overlock all the edges, whereas before I'd zigzagged them, they started to look a bit frayy. And I also got the fit a little bit better, I think, around the waist too. I just tweaked the pattern a little bit to suit me. But it comes together really nicely. It's got these nice pockets. They're actually quite deep for slash pockets. They're quite handy pockets. And yeah, nice back yoke, so it kind of hugs your back nicely. And it's just quite a nice basic skirt pattern, really. In terms of sizing, I think I made the size 2, which is for waist 26, hip 36, which is pretty much exactly my measurements. And I found it quite true to size. It's kind of a little bit loose around the waist, but I quite like that because I can tuck a chunky jumper in, which is what I've done today, so it keeps me nice and cosy for a wintry day. But I'll put a picture up so you can see me wearing it. One thing I did was I sort of made a combination of these versions because I quite like the feature bottom band. So what I did was I sort of took a couple of inches off the length of the miniskirt version, and then I added the bottom band on, so it's not quite sort of above the knee length like this version, but it's not quite a super short miniskirt either. It's somewhere in between. But it's a nice sew, and I'm actually enjoying having a skirt on today. It's just something a little bit different, I guess. So that's what I'm wearing today, and then I thought I'd share what I've been up to. So first of all, I finished off my daughter's pants collection. You'll know last week I was sewing some RS knickers for myself, that using the RS knicker pattern by Tilly and the Buttons, and I also downloaded the free mini acacia pattern to make my daughter some pants. And she's really pleased with all her pants. I'll put a picture up so you can see what they look like. I used up a mixture of pink elastic, and then I ran out of pink elastic, so I think they take more elastic than I always think. And then I used some white elastic too, but she didn't seem to mind that some of them were white elastic. But the one thing I'm still wanting to do for her pants is, she was finding it hard to know which way round to put them. And I realised that a lot of her pants have a little, you know, one of those little sort of bows on the front, so you can tell which way round they are. So I've ordered a load of little tiny pink bows online, so I can sew them on the front, so it makes it easier for her to know which way round the pants go. So hopefully they'll come soon. I ordered from 2 different sources. It was quite hard to find the right sort of bows, so I ordered one set from like a lingerie website, and they're definitely bows for bra making and pants making. And the others I ordered from Etsy, and they look like they might be more for card making, you know, like little bows you might put on wedding cards and things. But they're really cheap, so I thought I'd order both and then see what the kind of different ones come like. So I'll share with you in another vlog, and when they've arrived, how they kind of compare, and if like both would work, or really the lingerie ones were the only ones that would work. I thought if the other ones don't work, I'm sure we can use them for crafts and things anyway. So that is an update on the pants. And then also I wanted to say thank you so much for the recommendations for pants patterns I could use for my son. There are a few pattern recommendations. I've written them all down in a list. I'm going to have a look at them all. The most popular recommendations seem to be the Speedy Pants by Waves and Wild, which has like a boxer version and a pants version. And I think you use the actual fabric, jersey fabric, to make the waistband and the leg bands rather than elastic. So I'm going to have a look into that. But I think I might do that in a couple of weeks, because I feel like I've made so many pairs of pants the last week or so. I could do with a little break from pant making, or knicker making. I keep saying pants, but I do mean knickers. Or panties, or yeah. Anyway, that's enough on that. I thought I'd share with you now what my current sewing project is. This isn't one I was exactly expecting to do this month actually, but it's one of my Make 9. So I did a video a couple of weeks ago sharing 9 patterns I'd like to make in 2022, and I'll include a link in case you fancy checking that out if you haven't seen it. And one of the patterns is a new look pattern. And I included this on my Make 9 because I really want to get more into sewing the big 4 patterns, because historically I've been a little bit nervous about them. I made a few when I first started sewing, and then I found the indie patterns and found their instructions really clear and I found they held your hand a little bit more. And I sort of got into a sort of indie pattern sewing spree, and I haven't really looked back. But I really like some of the designs of the Big 4 patterns too, and I thought I'd just try one this year and see how I got on with it and maybe build my confidence up on trying a few more of them. So I chose this pattern here for my Make 9, and it's a New Look pattern. It's New Look 6682, and I just chose it because I thought it was a really pretty dress pattern. It's quite a dressy dress, I guess, so I'm not sure I'd wear it to, probably like a meal out or something, but I thought I'd just give it a try because I like the look of it and it'll be a bit of fun to give it a go. And I decided to do it sooner rather than later because Minerva is running a challenge. I think the hashtag is Sewn with New Look. And basically through the month of January, they're encouraging you to post on the Minerva website a picture of a dress or any sort of pattern you've made using a New Look pattern. And then you kind of hashtag it with Sewn with New Look. And then you're kind of putting a prize draw. I think there's a chance to win some New Look patterns and a voucher for Minerva and that sort of thing. So I just thought that would be a good reason for me to get started on this pattern and give it a go. So I'm hoping if I finish it this week, I'll be able to post it in time to meet the end of January deadline on the Minerva website. And I'll include a link down below to the details of that challenge if you have a New Look pattern you want to share. I don't think it has to be anything new. I think it can be anything you've sewn with New Look this month or previously. You just have to post it on Minerva. Use the hashtag, so I'll include the details below, but I thought it would just be fun to join in with that, so I thought I'd give this pattern a go. So it's a really pretty pattern, and I quite like to make this version here. So it's designed for woven fabrics. It's got this high neck with a sort of fold detail in it. And it's got these sort of billowy sleeves with a cuff, and it's got a sort of cinched in waistline. It's kind of got gathering at the front and back of the bodice to sort of bring it into the waist of the skirt, and then quite a swishy skirt that's sort of cut on the sort of on an angle. So yeah, it has quite a lot of swish to it. And there are two lengths of the skirt, a slightly shorter one and a slightly longer one. There's also this version with a shorter sleeve too, but I really fancied giving this version a go, and that's got a lower neck too with a facing, I think. So yeah, I just thought I'd give it a try. So I started it on Friday evening. My husband went out to the pub with some of his friends, and I quite like to get some sewing done when he's out and about. I quite like to get my sewing table set up and put a film on or something and get really stuck in. So I've made a bit of progress on it. The first thing I did was trace out all the pattern pieces, just to get myself familiar with the pattern pieces and how they looked, and it wasn't too scary. The only thing I wasn't sure on was sizing. I had a couple of people let me know a bit about the New Look sizing, which was really helpful. One thing I discovered was that the waist size wasn't on the pattern envelope, but it was on the actual pattern piece, which I thought was a bit random. So I only found that when I was looking at the actual pattern piece of the skirt, where it showed the kind of finished garment measurements of the waist on there, which was quite useful actually. So in the end, I decided to make a size 6 at the bust, which I decided to make based on the finished garment measurements, which was 35 inches for the size 6 bust, and I'm 32 inches, so I thought that'd give me plenty of room around the bust, even though the pattern would put me at a size 8 to 10 bust. I decided to size down the bust. Then I went for a size 8 on the waist based on the finished garment measurements on the pattern piece, which I think showed, I didn't originally thought I'd trace the size 6 for all the measurements and just size down quite a bit, but the size 6 waist was only just marginally larger than my waist, and I thought it might come up a bit too snug. So I decided to grade out to a size 8 at the waist, and then I kept it a size 8 along the hips because I thought it wouldn't matter too much because it's kind of a swishy skirt, so the hips measurement probably isn't too critical. And then I've added on an inch to the length of the sleeves just to give me a bit more room. I thought I could always crop it shorter if it looks too long, but you can't add on the length. And I decided to lengthen the bodice by ½ an inch. Not for any reason other than I often find I need to lengthen the bodice, so I thought I'd give that a go. So I've done that, and I've cut out all the pattern pieces and started sewing. And I am sewing this in I'm planning this to be a wearable toile because I wasn't sure how I'd get on with the pattern, so I thought I'd try it in some cheaper fabric first of all. So I've got some of the fabric here to show you. This is a viscose challis from Minerva, and it was $5.99 a metre, and I'll link it below. It comes in all different colours, and I've used it before, and it's really nice viscose actually. It's not too lightweight, and it's got a bit of body, and it's got a lovely drape to it. And what's great about it is it doesn't fray too much. As you can see, it's really not started to fray a great deal at all on the edge, so it's quite nice to work with, and I like the fact that it's not printed, it's black all the way through, so if I did snag it at all, I wouldn't get any white snag lines. So here's one of my sleeves that I've cut out. So I'm just giving it a go in this black fabric, and I'm hoping it'll be a wearable toile because that'd be really nice if it did turn out nice enough to be able to wear, because you can't go wrong with a black dress, I guess. So that's where I am on that one. So I thought I'd do is I would pop on in a moment and share when I got my sewing machine out, because I'm going to carry on sewing that today, and share a few details on how I've got on with the patterns. That is my plan. I've also got a couple of other things I want to do today. I've got some really old looking bananas, so I'd like to bake some banana bread. So I think what I'm going to do now is go and try and get the banana bread slightly prepped and in the oven, and then I'm going to get my sewing machine out, and I'll join you again in a moment and share with you a few details from the new look 6682, which I'm sewing at the moment. So I'll leave you now, and I'll see you in a moment see you in a bit when I'm at my sewing machine. Bye. Hello. So I'm at my sewing machine now. I've got the banana bread baking in the oven. Usually what I do is I make the banana bread and then I spoon a bit in some cupcake cases, so I make some little banana cakes for my children at the same time. And I'll put a picture up once it's all baked so you can see how it all looked, but it smells nice now because it's cooking at the moment. So I got that done and a few other jobs, and I've now got my sewing machine out, and I thought I'd share with you how I'm getting on with my new look 6682 dress. So yeah, it's been quite an enjoyable sew so far. It's been interesting to try out one of the big 4 pattern instructions because I am finding them quite different. But this is where my dress has got to so far. So I've got the dress all sewn up, but it hasn't got the sleeves attached, as you can see. I haven't hemmed the bottom either. But you can see at the front it's got this really pretty sort of gathering detail at the 2 front sides of the front bodice. And the back it's got the same sort of pretty gathering detail, and it's got an invisible zip down the back. And I did find the pattern instructions, quite sparse on the invisible zip front. The pattern instructions say, insert the invisible zipper at back edges following manufacturer's instructions, being careful to match waist seams. So there's no real guidance on how to go about the process of inserting a visible zip. And I hadn't inserted an invisible zip for a while, so I went back to a tutorial I'd used a long time ago. It's the Avid Seamstress Day Dress tutorial, which I'll link below. It's just available on their website. It's like an extra tutorial to accompany you sewing the day dress. But you insert the invisible zipper at the same stage, so it's the same process, and it was quite useful to follow that through. And it went in fine, and I kind of matched up the waist seams, and I'll show you the waist seams. They kind of ended up quite matched up, I think. Where are they? The waist seams kind of match up there. You could probably, it's hard to see with this lighting, but you can just see just about, they kind of match up along here. So that went in fine. The other thing I found a bit tricky was this neck bit. So the neck pattern piece is quite a fancy, complicated pattern piece. I'll show you here. This is the pattern piece, and you kind of fold it down a couple of times to create a kind of pretty fold in the neckline. But it's cut on the bias. And I don't think if I made it again, I would cut it on the bias, because it's not like you need the bias for stretch, because there's a piece on the inside, the facing isn't cut on the bias, and the facing's interface, so it kind of holds it in place. And I found it really stretched quite easily, so I folded the pieces down and then I sewed them to the neckline, and it just stretched out of shape slightly, so that was a bit disappointing. You were supposed to hand baste the folds in place. That might have helped. I did skip that step because I thought, well, I'll just see how it goes. That might have helped, but I think generally if I make this dress again for my kind of proper version, I'll probably just cut it on the grain line to make it a little bit less fluid, particularly with a viscose fabric. Maybe, I think the pattern is maybe designed for and it does say silky types and things, but if you made it in a cotton lawn, I don't think there'd be so much of an issue with it stretching because it's viscose. It did stretch a little bit. So what I've done, it's really hard to see, is I've ended up sewing the folds down. So instead of being sort of loose folds around the neck, they're now sort of stitched down. You might be able to see a little bit there. It's really hard to see there. You can see a little bit of stitching down there. So it's still a nice detail, and it's quite hard to see with the black anyway. But it was a little bit of a fiddle, and I did find with the cutting on the bias, it did end up, stretching slightly out of shape. But I think it is fine now. And I added on the back. On the pattern it says to sew some thread loops to attach the buttons or thread the buttons through, but I actually decided to make my own little rouleau loops. I'll unpick so you can see that I added two little rouleau loops at the back to attach the buttons to, or sort of do up with the buttons. And I use these cute little buttons. Hopefully you can see them. They're kind of got a little sort of glitteriness on them. They're just plastic buttons. I actually had to look at my stash because when I bought this pattern, I also bought the black invisible zip and the black fabric, but I hadn't noticed the buttons. I hadn't noticed you needed buttons, and I had a look at my stash, and the only buttons I had were different colours. I had a green pair and a purple pair that were the right size. I didn't think either of those would be right, and I didn't want to go for anything bigger because I thought it'd be too bulky. But I got a Hobbycraft gift voucher for my birthday, and I was looking on the Hobbycraft website and I ordered a few things which I'll share in a later video mostly, and I'm going to do a February fabric haul and other bits and bobs video, sewing plans and whatnot, and I'll share some things. But I did also get these little buttons because I thought they'd actually go really well with the dress, and they're quite cute, I think. So you need to add them on the neckline, and then also I think there are some on the cuffs as well, but I thought they were quite pretty. So that's where I've got to at the moment. So the neckline is slightly different to intended, but I think it looks nice with the sort of folding and the stitching. And I think I might do that again actually, because I do like the idea of this dress in a viscose when I make my proper version as it was. And I think that drapey fabric, stitching it all in place, will just hold it so much better. So that's where I've got to. So my today's plans are to do the sleeves. And the sleeve is a billowy sleeve with a cuff. And the cuff's got a little vent in, which I've done one time before. I think I used the sleeve vent on the French Navy Fleetwood dress. So I'm a bit familiar with that, but that was a chambray I used. And this is a viscose, so hopefully it won't stretch too much when I sort of do the little bias binding detail around the sleeve vent. But those are my plans today. So I'm pleased how it's coming along. It's quite a long skirt for me, so I thought I'd make it the shorter length of the two of these, and I thought I'd try it on, and if it does feel a bit too long, then I can always crop it a bit shorter. But I thought for an evening dress, it might be quite nice actually to be a bit longer. So we'll see. And I think the black's quite nice, isn't it? You can't really go wrong with a black dress. So that's where I got to on that one. Oh, and the other thing I thought I'd mention about how I'm finding the New Look pattern is, they mention on the sort of initial pattern instructions about needing to finish the edges either with like a zigzag or an overlock. But I do like it when patterns say during the process when to overlock things. I was just about to insert the invisible zip and I realised I needed to overlock those back edges before I insert the zip, otherwise it would have been quite tricky to overlock those edges. So luckily I remembered in time and it was okay, but that is something I'm used to from the indie patterns. I guess they do hold your hands a little bit more. But other than that, I'm quite enjoying actually trying it. It's nice to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I do feel as well that having a bit of sewing experience under my belt, I feel a bit more comfortable knowing what I'm doing, if you know what I mean. Like with the these little fastenings at the back, I think when I started sewing, I'd have always followed the pattern by rote and I'd have tried to do little sort of thread loops. But now, having made some other patterns that have rouleau loops, I thought that would look nice. So I just decided to add those in instead. And I think the confidence from dealing with other patterns means I'm better equipped to tackle the big four now without getting too intimidating. So yes, I'm enjoying how it's going. So I'm hoping I'll get this one finished this week, and then I'll be sharing it in my January makes video, which will probably be coming up in a couple of weeks' time, because this weekend I'm going to do my winter makes, mostly before Christmas items. So that is my plan. Hi, so I was just about to finish up the video then, and so I was going to get on and do a bit of this sewing of my New Look dress when the doorbell went, and it was the postman, and he had a few things to deliver, including some of the little bows I'd ordered to go on my daughter's panties. So I thought I'd pop back on and share with you those bows since they've arrived. That's quite nice. So they're really cute little bows. These ones are the ones I ordered from the online shop, which specialises in supplies for bra making, and they're called Fit to Sew, and I'll link them down below. So I got little packets of pink bows, and they came in all different colours of bows, I think. But yeah, I went for pink, my daughter's favourite. And I think that would look really cute on her pants. So here's a pair of the panties I made using the Mini Acacia pattern by Megan Nielsen, which is a free pattern. They're really cute, I think, with the catacons on. These ones have already been worn and washed, so that's great. But yeah, these bows will really help her tell the right way around. So I think you put the bow on this way around. And that'll look really cute, I think, at the front of those little panties. I think I'll just attach it onto the elastic, the fold over elastic at the top there with some hand stitches. And that should be perfect for her to help her, yeah, show which way around they go. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them. I've got a fair few of them. I think I got maybe 10 or so, or maybe, no, I think I got packs of, oh, I don't even know. There's quite a few in there. So I've made her 6 pairs of pants already, and I'll probably be making her some more because the old ones are getting a bit too small and some of them are getting worn out now. So, but they'll keep me going for a while, I think, on her pants. So that'll be a nice little project in front of the TV to add those little bows to her pants. So I'm quite glad they arrived. And I'm looking forward to the other ones arriving too. The other ones I ordered that are sort of more cheaper ones that might just be for card making, but they are satin bows, so we'll see. And I'll let you know when they've arrived. I'll share with you what they look like and how they compare. So yeah, that's nice that's arrived. Another little job, she'll be pleased with those. So anyway, I will actually probably say goodbye now and get on with a bit of sewing of the New Look dress. I'm hoping I'll finish that one this week in time to join in with the Minerva Sewing with New Look hashtag challenge. And then hopefully I'll be able to share that with you guys in my January makes video, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. This Saturday, I'm going to do a sort of winter makes video, which is mostly items I made in December. So I'd love it if you tune in for that too. So I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you managed to get a little bit of crafting squeezed in somewhere, if possible. Thank you so much for watching, as ever. And I would love it if you did enjoy the video, if you give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you're enjoying hearing a bit about my sewing and what I'm up to, I would love it if you'd subscribe and press the bell notification button, and then you'll be notified when my future videos come out too. So thanks so much again for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.